Welcome to another episode of Chatting with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I'm with Anthony. What's up, man?
All right, not too bad, Bill. What are you doing?
I'm just chilling,
What's
man.
up?
Living the dream. Yeah. So you know. Uh
Listen, before go ahead, fast.
Go
Say what you want to
ahead.
say.
Make sure you hit the like,
Now, before we
subscribe,
get
and
into the show and everything,
yeah, go ahead.
before we get into the show and everything, I wanted to say something about a guy. They call him Vegas Willie. I thought maybe he's related to Steamboat fucking Willie, the one that Mickey Mouse played in the cartoons. Basically, well, I just want to say this. Listen, a lot of people read my book. A lot of people seen my podcast. Some people like it. Some people don't like it. Some people like it, they don't like it. Some like it all. Some of them don't like it. Now, to all the people who don't like it, they all write to me. They think they're going to get me upset. They yelled, "You're a punk. We'll come and get you. We'll do this." And I write back to them, you know what? Here I am. I'm in Brooklyn. You come to Brooklyn. Let me know where you're going to be. I'll come and meet you. Bring your friends if you want. Nobody ever shows up. Now, I got a video that's out. One of the videos where I was talking. And I got a thing from a guy on, his name is, they call him Vegas Willie. He is a moron. All right, I'm going to put it, he's a moron. The way he was talking, your ass, who do you think you're going on and on and on. So I'm reading the things that he sent to me. And then he sends one to me. Think if you kick me in the back of the fucking head, you're going to get I'll put you in the ground. Now, the guy has got to be referring to the story that's in my book and also in my podcast about when I had the Desiree Club. That I wasn't there yet, and one of the guys approached Bridget. He knew that she was with me. Follow what I'm saying? He knew this is my lady. He turns around and he's talking to her. Oh, I want to. I don't care. You with Anthony and everything. When I got to the club, she never said nothing to me. She was pissed off. So she goes, I want to go home. I want to go home. I said, look, I got business yesterday. I'll take you home. I got to come back. She goes, fine. When I got back, my bartender calls me on the side, Uncle Sammy Messina. He said, Anthony, you know why Bridget's mad? I said, you go see that guy over there? And two guys are from another family. I said, yeah, what about him? And he told me what he said. He was telling, I'll give you money. Don't worry about Anthony and everything. I said, okay. Now, these two guys knew me. They know of me, and this guy thinks he's a fucking tough guy. It's okay, fine. With that, I'm biding my time. And I know what to do. So I walk over there. Hey, how you been? I told the guy who's the business, I said, let me talk to you a second. He goes, what's up? I said, I got a deal. And I'm making up this story about a deal. And I walk him to the back of my club. When I got him in the place that I wanted him, I gave him a fucking beating. Then I beat him bad, and then I started banging his head. There was what they call it along the floor where we had the waterfall. I'm banging his face. They had to pull me off of him. You're going to kill him. I said, kill him, and I'll cut his fucking heart out.
The radiator, right?
P.S. They pull me off of him. His face still on the pipe. I turn around quick, and
It was a radiator, right? It was a radiator.
Bill, I didn't hear you. What'd you say?
Yeah, it was a radiator.
No, it wasn't a radiator pipe. It was the pipe to my water. It was the pipe to my waterfall. I had a waterfall in the back of the club. It was a big pipe, like the high-riser pipes you have in your house, like whenever you have a radiator. When they pulled me off of him, I turned around quick and I kicked him in the back of his head. I took his jaw and put it back here somewhere on him, took all his teeth out. Now, to get off that subject, that story is in The Sopranos. That Tony Soprano's daughter is sitting in the luncheonette or whatever with a kid. She's got a little cream on her face. She was having an egg cream or something, and the guy comes over and says, I can add to that. Then Tony gives him a beating and does that to him.
Yeah.
Everybody knew me, so somebody gave him that story. But P.S., the guy has to be a real moron or he's a total fucking idiot. Because why is he saying, if you ever kick me in the back of the head, that'd be the last fucking thing you ever do. I'll put you in the ground. It was a story about the guy who said something to my lady and I straightened it out. So couple things with this guy. That's number one. He threatens me like that. Then he tells me to go fuck myself. Then he says, Well, I'm in. He named some area in Vegas. I'm there every fucking day. You'll come to see me, and we'll straighten it out. I'll put you in hospital. And he's threatening. Puts up his telephone number for me to call him.
Yeah.
Here's what I wanted
Did you call
to
him?
say. The guy, number one, is he's either a cop or he's a fucking, because first of all, the moron book, which is the internet, which everybody knows gonna be. So if they want to go pick him up, they know where he is. If somebody's got a grudge against him, they know where to get him. They go there, and then he leaves his phone number. The guy is. He said that to me. ED's trying to impress some girl he's with, or he's trying to impress the people that's around him, or there's another possibility. Maybe he don't got the ball of what I done in my life and to live the life I did. So he's got to try to put me. He's threatening me. The guy's a total jerk off doing that on the internet. You know as I do. Every internet show is fucking. They get that the law enforcement. They're always going through it. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
The guy's a total idiot. What I don't understand, if you don't like what I read, or you don't like what I wrote, or you don't like what I said, fine. I ain't saying everybody's got to like it. But he didn't even get the story right about kicking in the back of the head. This was a guy who went after my leg, and I did that. So he didn't even get that. What the fuck is wrong with this guy? He's a total fucking jerk off. Meanwhile, they call him Vegas Bill. Now, my thing, I told him, say it to my face. I tell you, if he comes to Brooklyn, I told him, say it to my face. You know what I do? I'll pick him up at the airport. I'll take him out for dinner, and then we'll find a nice spot. And I have Piers down by. He thinks he's a tough guy. We'll see how tough he is, and me, I'll just do what I do best, and I'll leave it at that. But the guys, they call him Vegas Willie. He's a fucking moron. You threaten a guy over the internet, you tell them where he's going to be, and you put your phone number. Whoever he's around, these people better straighten his head out and tell him, jerk off. You got to stop doing this, because this guy, I'm going to tell you now, just by the way he's talking and putting this on the internet, this guy's going to be a rat. Listen to what I'm telling you. He'll get a pinch on something, and he'll fucking rat everybody out, if he's not a rat already. So anybody who knows Vegas Willie, you can tell him I said he's a fucking moron. He's a fucking jerk off. Now, like I said, if you don't like what I wrote or what I said, that's fine, no problem. But don't come off like a tough guy. You want to come fight me. You want to, because you know what? I don't pay no attention to it. But this guy just today, I didn't know what I can make an example of this guy. I don't expect everybody to like my book or like what I done. This was my life that I chose to do. Good, bad, or indifferent, whether I made a mistake in doing it or not, this is what I chose to do. This is what I wanted to do. I don't expect everybody to do something like I did. No. Everybody takes care of their own in the only way they can. But like I said, this guy, like I said, I'll tell you his name again, Vegas Willie.
Yeah.
A number one. Vegas Willie, A number one jerk off, trying to impress his friends or some girl he's with, or what, or if he's around anybody, that he's a tough guy. Well, if you're so fucking tough, you know I'm in Brooklyn, come on down. Bring your friends with you also. And then we'll see. And I'm going to leave it at that.
Yeah, man.
So again, that's what you got.
So, hey, you got any
Questions,
stories
Bill?
for us? You got any stories for us?
Not that, because I'm putting a lot of stuff in my in book too, so I can't put them out over here.
Yeah.
You know, people want to ask me something, that's fine. But I will tell you one thing though. I'm gonna get in touch with Vlad TV because I got to do a thing with them where they want to talk to me about Michael Francis. That should be fun.
Someone said it. He is bullshitting about Alley Boy. You would never find the guy. That's someone said that.
What are you talking? What?
Someone said
About Alley Boy?
you're
What are you
bullshitting
talking
about Alley Boy. Something about you're saying your dad killed Joe Gallo. Someone said.
I said my father was one of the guys. Yeah. My father was pulled in for that 100 times. Yeah, my father's dead now. My father was one of the shoes. But what are they saying about Alley Boy?
He said that he is bullshitting about Alley Boy. You would never find the guy. I don't know. Someone wrote that.
Find what guy?
I don't know.
Find what guy?
Talking about Alley Boy when he was hiding out or some shit.
Which one you talking about? Junior's son?
Yeah, I think they're talking about him.
Bill.
Yeah, I think they're talking about
Who?
him.
The uncle or the brother?
I don't know.
Or his nephew?
I couldn't
Who's
tell
him?
you. Alley Boy.
Ask this person. Who are they talking about? No, right back this person. Which one? The uncle or the nephew?
I don't know, man. These are questions on another video we did. Someone else said,
Bill,
tell us about.
Right back to that guy and ask him.
Yeah, okay, I will.
What guy is he saying about finding what guy?
Familiar? Do you know Benny Surge? You know him? Some guy named Benny?
You talking about little Benny?
They said they were asking something about, because you went and fought in the war, right? In Vietnam,
Yeah.
didn't you? Yeah, you want to talk about what it was like? What it was like going over there?
That doesn't make a difference to me, whatever it is. But what did this guy want to know about Benny?
He just wanted to know if you know him.
I know Benny Aloy very well. Benny Aloy, his father.
Yeah.
And Vinny Aloy, and they had another guy that stood with them named Little Benny, and they made him a captain a long time ago. Bill, you sleeping or you awake?
Oh no, I'm reading comments, bro. I'm trying to read some shit.
Oh.
What do you want to talk about, man? Give the people a quick story about collecting money.
Tell me. They said the people had questions. Let them ask me questions. You said you had questions there.
Anyone got a question? When you went over about the Pope and all that, at least this guy's a real mobster and not one of those drug dealers acting like he was in the mob. That's what someone just said. Look.
I don't look, I don't care what a man does for a living, but drugs is a no-no to me. I won't sell drugs. I won't have guys selling drugs around me at the time. I wouldn't get involved in the drug business. That's just me.
Was there a lot of people involved with drugs? There was a lot of people involved with drugs, though, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, ton of guys, ton of people involved in it. To me, I look at it this way. I'm not into drugs. If you're into drugs, that's fine and well and good. That's your way of making your money, making your living. That's your business. I'm not into drugs. Because to me, you're selling drugs to somebody, they get hooked on it, you're ruining them and their whole family. You know what I'm saying? I look at it this way. If I just don't like drugs, drugs
Someone
me
said,
at the time.
how
and
close
anybody that was with me or around me.
How close were you with Greg Scarpa?
Greg, I knew Greg where I could go to the club and actually talk to him. I didn't have to call him up. I could have just walked in and talked to him. Or when he came down to 3rd Avenue, when he came to Carroll Street, if he would speak, let's say, with Allie, or he'd speak with my cousin Mac or one of them, I was always sitting in on it. So Greg knew me very well. And Greg, we did a lot of business. Let's put it that way. We did a lot of business years ago. Now, they said Greg is a rat, okay? Now, I look at it this way. I really don't know who he ratted on, but when I was talking with my cousin when it came out about Greg, I turned around and I said, he could have put everybody in the Diplomat that was on Carroll Street and 3rd Avenue. Everybody that was in there, if Greg was going to put us all away for 10 life sentences. And he didn't. Now, the only thing I can think of, I'm going to be honest with you. They're saying that he was a rat. So what did he do? He only ratted on the guys he didn't like? I mean, I don't know.
They say he was working with the
I
government.
mean, was he a rat?
Yeah, he was working with the government. Like they were paying him for information, and he was taking a lot of
Well,
people out, man. He was getting a lot of. It was crazy. I can't
he
believe
didn't take
all.
any. Listen,
He
he
didn't
didn't
take
do
any of
nothing.
his own
Listen to me. Let me
people,
tell you
right?
something. He didn't take nobody from Carroll Street and Third Avenue. I can tell you that because we used to have staying the Diplomat on the corner. It was our social club. Greg was down there 2-3 times a week, easy. And we, whatever business we done or discussed or things we done or whatever, none of us ever got pinched for anything we done with him. So I mean, if he was working with the government, the only thing I could see, maybe he went after guys he didn't like. I don't know. That I couldn't get. I knew his brother Sally also. I knew Sally's couple very well also. There is a story going around that Greg had his brother Sally killed because something that he didn't trust him or he thought he was going to be a rat or testify or something. I really don't remember the story. I mean, I don't know if that's true. I know Sally got clipped. There was a problem, and that's how he got clipped. And from what my understanding is, the two guys who were involved who clipped Sally, who killed Greg's brother, Greg got even. He took out the both of them. Now, that's the story I got.
Damn.
And I would say it's true because I got it from a very, very, very reliable source in our family.
Did you know Greg's son
But Greg,
Frank?
like I said, I never. Excuse me.
Did you
Hello.
know Greg's son Frank? See it?
No, no.
Did
I
you
knew
ever
Greg
meet Joe?
Jr. I
Did
knew
you ever
him.
meet Joe Gallo?
Who?
Crazy Joe Gallo?
When I was a kid, sure. When I was a kid, I met him before they had the problems. Yeah, I was a young kid. I was like small.
How about John Gotti?
I was like 9, 10 years old, 8 years old. Huh?
Did you ever meet John Gotti?
John, I met him about 4 times. Because if you ever look on my thing where my cigars are, for Don.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, Bill.
Um, someone said, "Well, I thought all these guys on here on
What?
YouTube that turned rat. You never ratted."
No, I never gave nobody up, and I always said that. Nobody ever never gave nobody up, and nobody could ever get hurt with my book. Because, like I said, the guys ain't around. The guys ain't around, and the guys
When's
that
your
are around, the old
yeah?
timers that are still alive, were the ones who all told me, "You write your book. If you put us in it, don't make us look like monsters." And I said I wouldn't do that. And another thing with people who talk, I was the youngest, one of the youngest. There was 4 of us all together that were the youngest guys in that Colombo family. Because everybody else was like 26 years older than us, 24 years older than us, 30 years older than us, 35 years old, like the old timers, like Tom DeBella and all them. They had like
To
at least
you,
30 years on us. All
yeah.
right.
To you, these guys were real old, right?
Good.
Like when you were in there, these guys were old as hell, right?
Well, 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 like I said, a lot of the guys were like anywhere from 25 to 26 years older than us. And then the old timers would be like Kakayal, Ali Lamont, that would be Tom DeBella and all those guys who were 30 and 40 years older than us.
This guy said, "Did you ever meet Russell Buffalino?"
You got to remember, when I was like, these guys were already, what?
Did you ever meet Russell Buffalino?
I didn't hear what you said.
Did you ever meet Russell
No, no, I
Buffalino?
never met him.
No. Football crazy.
No, I never met him.
I know, man. I'm reading something else. You
What?
got any? You want to tell a little story out of book 1? When's book 2 gonna be out again? By the end of this year, right?
Probably not anywhere. Book 2 probably between March this year.
Yeah, that'll be good,
Book 2 will
man.
come out between March and June of next year. Yeah, book 2 will be coming out.
Yeah, I'm gonna be
But,
coming out there to New York, man. We're gonna be filming.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah,
probably
there's no
gonna.
problem with that.
Yeah, man.
When
Someone said, "Did you have
yeah,
any
we could do
interaction
something with that. That's no problem with that.
with Benny Sieg? Benny Sieg? Siege?
Who?
Who's Benny Siege?
Benny the
Right here.
Sidge.
Right here.
If it's the guy I'm thinking of, Benny, huh? Benny the
about these
Sidge, no.
guys?
If it's the guy I'm thinking of, what?
What about these guys?
Phil, I
Nicky
can't hear.
Carrazzo and them. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Nicky
Yeah,
Carosa. You're talking about Nicky Carosa for John Gotti you're talking about.
Whoever wrote
You're
that.
talking about Nicky that was with John Gotti.
Yeah, do you have any dealings with him?
No, I didn't do no dealings with him. I met him a couple of times, but I never did no dealings with him. No.
So
Yeah, you're talking about Nicky Carosa.
yeah.
Well, there
So
was a guy in Brooklyn years ago, Tony Carosa. Huh?
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Years ago, there was a guy in Brooklyn, Tony. I tell you, Bill, not for nothing. This connection is freaking terrible. I got to tell you, on this computer today, because you're talking, and then when I start talking, your voice comes in again. Anyway,
Yeah.
there was a guy years ago named Tony Carosa. Tony Carosa had a funeral parlor, and everybody should remember his son, Larry Carosa. Tony was straightened out. Anyway, his son Larry was a nice kid. I liked him. A lot of people knew him. According to Michael Francis, he was supposedly very close with him, or baptized his kid, or some bullshit, or whatever. I don't know what it was exactly. But Larry, as time was going by and he was hanging out more and more with the Colombos, he was a good earner. Don't get me wrong. The kid was a good earner. He was making a lot of money with the funeral parlor that his father had. The kid had some other businesses on the side. But what happened, he started getting, somebody put you're going to straighten you out. So they weren't going to straighten the kid out. There's the truth. They really were going to straighten him out. But when they're going to straighten you out, somebody might tell you, yeah, we're going to put you up for membership, but they're not going to tell you when you're going to get straightened out. You follow? They'll never tell you when. P.S. This got to his head. And this kid's going around all over the place. Now he thinks who the fuck he is. He thinks he's a made guy already. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Walking into places, abused people. He was abusing people, saying things he shouldn't say. They called his father down. I was there. They told him, tell your son Larry, keep his mouth shut. Shut the fuck up. Don't go into these places and abuse people. When he goes in, he pays his tab. Father told the son. Son didn't give a shit. He didn't listen. He kept on going back and forth to the clubs. And he was abusing people. Well, what happened? He went to a joint one night, which everybody talks, they know everything, but they don't know fucking shit. He went to a club one night, which was a club called the Maximus Club. Michael Bellino had the club. Michael Bellino was Ali Boy Persico's bodyguard driver. I'm talking about Junior's brother. He was with him. And Maximus was on 77th Street in Brooklyn, just below 13th Avenue. I had a piece of it with Michael Bellino because he had it. I wasn't there. Michael wasn't there. There was another guy in there who was a wise guy. This kid walks in. For whatever the reason is, this kid got into an argument or started in with this guy. And the kid pulled the gun on the guy. Kid put the gun right under his neck over here like this. The bartenders, everybody broke up. So what are you, fucking crazy? This, that, or whatever. P.S. Word got back. There was a sit down. They called his father down. They told him, how many fucking times we tell you with your son? This is it. There's no more chances after this. Tell your son if he gets in trouble again, he's on his own. They let him slide because they liked him. Listen what I'm telling you. They put a gun to a made guy and they let him slide because they liked him. What did this fucking jerk do? He comes down to my joint, Desiree. That was the after hour club I had with Joe Z on West 6th Street between Kings Highway and Quentin Road. And he's talking with Joe Z and a couple of other guys come in. And this guy, Fat Andy, comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Fat Andy came from up in the Bronx. He's a good friend of ours. He's a made guy. Fat Andy was a lieutenant. He was nobody to fuck around with. I mean, this is a serious piece of work. Nicest guy you'd ever want to meet. But when it came to business, this was a serious piece of work. I did a lot of business with the guys up on Arthur Avenue because my uncle Danny Salenti was up over there and he was a captain up there. So he was with the Genovese people. You know, did a lot of business with them. Fat Andy's in there minding his own business. He's having a good time. Whatever it is, this fucking kid comes in, and they called him Fat Andy because the guy was heavy. I mean, the guy was like 6 feet tall. He was like about 280 pounds. So he was heavy. This jerk-off kid starts making fun of him. Doesn't know who the guy is. Doesn't bother to try to find out who he is. And he knows. When you come into my joint, you know I got a lot of guys that are made guys that come in the joint. Fat Andy goes over to him, tells him, what's your problem? He goes, I'm not bothering you. One day, he pulls a gun out on the kid again. He pulls a gun out on Fat Andy, second time. After that, they didn't call his father down. The word went out, this kid's got to go. End the story, the kid's got to go. No second chance, no third, no fourth chance. He's had enough chances. Fuck the father, kid's got to go.
That's what they said.
One morning, he's...
Yeah.
Guy's got to go. You know how many chances they gave this kid? They gave this kid 4 chances. After he pulled the gun on the guy in my club, in Maximus, the guy was a made guy, they let him slide. They said, that's it. No more. And they told the father after the incident, the first incident with the gun, if your son gets in trouble again, he's on his own. So he did another thing, this kid. Who he was, because they were going to make him. So what happens? Word went out. Kid's got to go. So they said, don't even bother calling the father. Don't talk to the father. No, nothing. Keep going. It's the end of the story. Yeah. So one morning, I don't know if it was in the spring or early fall or whatever. There was a funeral going. Larry was one of the pallbearers. The body was, I guess, in the church or in the chapel or the funeral parlor, wherever the fuck it was over down the avenue. He goes across the street to get coffee. He's coming across the street with a coffee in his hand. It's early in the morning. Kid sees 2 guys that he knows. Kid turned around, dropped the coffee, turned around to run. The kid knew he was going to. Unfortunately for him, he never made it across the street. They must have put about 10 bullets in him. Killed him right there, dead. Bing. Dead. Over and done with. Dead. They get in the car, they leave. Now the father's screaming and yelling, my son, I was going to kill who did it. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. It just went on and on and on. This went on for like months. This went on. So what happened? It got to the point that they called him down and they told him, you want to know your fucking son? He says, yeah. They pointed to the table. Those 2 guys right there. So the 2 guys looked at him. I ain't going to say who it is. You probably know one of them, Bill. And the 2 guys sat there and they looked at him. And they says, what do you want to do? He didn't say nothing, this guy, Tony Carosa. Didn't say a fucking word. So they turned around and said, you're not going to do nothing? I don't want to hear it again. Because if I hear you open up your fucking mouth again, you're going to join your son. They told him point blank, you're going to join your son. 2 guys got up. They left. Tony left. Everybody left the club. They walked out. Anyway, a couple of years later, one of these guys is in prison. And guess who he runs into prison? He runs into Tony Carosa. Tony Carosa's in the fucking prison. And what happened, the first day on the compound, this guy, well, not the first, the second day on the compound, this guy's there. And there's a lot of guys there I knew. There was Punchy Iliano was there. Vinny DiNapoli was there. Jerry Solano was in there. What's called Lindsay Provenzano. John Cody. There was a lot of guys in there that were waiting for this guy. The guy comes in. First day, okay. Second day, the guy's around. Guys walk the compound, bunks into a guy. Or a guy bunks into him. No, the guy bumped into him. Guy said, excuse me. He was nice. The guy turns around and says to the guy, who the fuck you think you are? I just looked at him. I think you better fucking curb your fucking tongue. I said, excuse me, you bumped into me. One thing led to another. The guy who was doing the cursing went to put his hands on the guy who came in, and the guy who came in fucking broke his ass right there in the middle of the compound, shattered his. That he hears a rumor he goes to the chapel office where he was hanging out with Vinny DiNapoli and a couple of guys, and they're saying that the guy that he hit was a made guy. Okay, fine. I'm a made guy also. Guys on me, I hit him. Who fucking made him? Tony Carosa was making guys into fucking prison, or saying they could be made into prison. Swear to God, no fucking lie. Tony Carosa got called in to the chaplain's office in Danbury, because we were in Danbury, and he says, get all the guys who you supposedly made. And they fucking made. This moron here doesn't flee. Never mind to make somebody. These guys were walking around the compound like they were made fucking guys. They were nothing. And Tony Carosa turns around, and here's the funny part. The guy who broke the guy who broke his jaw, one of the guys who clipped his son. That was at the table that day when he said, you got to do something, do it, otherwise get out of here. When Tony Carosa seen this guy in the prison, he tried to get a transfer to get out of the prison.
Oh, man.
Idiotic, huh? Fucking stupid fucking shit. He died now, Tony. So,
you know, let's see, Tommy Karate or Tommy Patera.
Tommy Patera. I met him like twice. He killed a friend of mine. He killed a friend of mine, Mikey the Bear, Mikey Aiello. I got to the hit. It was I was too late when I got there, because what happened, they put a hit on him. There was Frankie Lino put a hit on him, and they had okay. And when I went down to the Diplomat, Jerry Lang told me what happened. And he said, if you get there, he goes, Tommy will see you. He goes, Tommy will know the hit's called off. Unfortunately, when I got there, Mikey was already shot. I got there maybe like 30 seconds too late, and he was already shot. He died about 4 days later. It was a bullshit story that Frankie Lino made up about and that she was on drugs and Mikey was selling the drugs. Meanwhile, Frankie Lino was one of the biggest fucking dope dealers he had all around him. He was one of the biggest dope dealers going, Frankie Lino.
Yeah.
He went into the witness protection program, and then I heard he's out and he's in Staten Island. A couple of people seen him on Staten Island.
I'll try to get him on the show.
Yeah, I knew Frankie Lino. Huh?
I'll try to get him on here. I'll see if I can find him.
Oh, Frank.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I heard that he was out. I don't know. But I heard, as far as I knew, he went into the witness protection program. But somebody told me about, 3 years, maybe 4 years ago, they said they were Staten Island. They were either on Father Capodanno Boulevard or Highland Boulevard, and they said Frankie Lino walked right past them, turned around, seen him in the car, and waved to them. I have no idea if that's true or not. But Frankie used to have the club on Avenue U, just below McDonald Avenue.
So what do you think about
Johnny Dell had the club across the street.
Do you watch Sammy the Bull's podcast?
What?
Do you watch Sammy the Bull's podcast?
I haven't seen any of them, no.
No? So what do you think about...
No, I haven't seen any of them.
Yeah. What do you think about Whitey Bulger?
Truthfully, I never gave him much thought. Whitey Bulger, I never really followed him except when I seen the stories about him. But I never gave him much thought about him.
Yeah, I was out in Boston last couple of days ago.
Yeah.
It was fun, man. I went out and hung out with Bobby Luisi and Paul Tanzo and Ricky Lynch.
Right.
All good guys, man.
Yeah.
They're on board with
Bulger, I mean, from my understanding, the man was a tough guy.
Yeah, he was
he
was definitely doing his thing, but I think when you involve yourself with the cops and you're working with law enforcement, it gives you an advantage, but it's still a scumbag move to do that.
Listen to me. Let me tell you something.
Like you can't
Listen to me.
Yeah.
Bill, there's a lot of these families. Listen to me. A lot of these families, especially in New York, I would say each family has at least 2 or 3 cops they brought into the family.
Yeah.
That they're not cops anymore. They were cops, now they're off, and they brought them into the family because they got their connections in the police department.
Yeah, they were doing that, right?
And
They
that's
were
the
taking
truth.
people that used to be police officers, and they're making them into made guys, right?
Yeah, they made them wise guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially in New York. That was very big in the families in New York. Over here in New York, the 5 families in New York here did it with a lot of guys.
Yeah.
That's why I said the whole thing changed. It's not like it was. If it would have still been the way it was in the 70s and the early 80s, I would have never left. I would have never wrote my book. But when I seen they bring all these kids in, and these kids are coming in, and they're doing everything they want to do, and it's all because, oh, you know who my uncle is, who my father is, who my sister's fucking, who my mother's fucking, who my father's fucking. I don't need that bullshit. In my day, you went in, you did what you were told to do, you did it. When the time came, they put your name up. If everything was good, you got the okay, they straightened you out.
Someone
And
said,
you did what you
"Woke
had to do. Not
Anthony
because
talking about
you're going out with somebody's daughter or whatever."
look Stephen Caracappa."
Talking about who? Who?
Stephen Caracappa.
Bill, I
Who's
can't.
that? Who's Stephen Caracappa?
No, I don't know.
You
I
don't
don't know
know?
the person. It could be one of these young guys who came in after I left.
So why did
Because
you end
all
up?
new young guys were coming in.
Someone wants to know why you left the life.
I'll tell you exactly what it was. First, one of the reasons they started bringing all these young kids in, and they were making them. And not one of these young kids, not one, proved that they were willing to get it. Because when you got straightened out, you had to do a piece of work. None of these kids ever did a piece of work before in their life, and they straightened them out. Number one. Number two, they were also straightening out guys because you're going out with somebody's daughter, you're friends with somebody's son, and so on and so forth. That's number two. Now, number three, my cousin Mac was out on parole, and they set him up. The Colombo family set him up to go back to prison, and he died in prison. And my cousin Mac was the most loyalist fucking guy you could ever see. They set him up,
How'd they
and he
set him
died
up?
in prison. They didn't even fucking help him. They set him up. They were calling him from the prison. They were calling his house and talking to him. Now, when you're in prison and then other guys on parole, you ain't supposed to be able to call him. But they were making the calls go through. And they were telling him how they needed his help. Naturally, my cousin would have helped him out because he was in that family. They set him up. He got violated, went back to prison. He died in prison. And they didn't give a shit. I had to go see the boss's son and tell him, we need a place to lay him out. We got to get the coffin, the this, that, and he gave it to us. Everybody else set him up. That's another reason. The third reason, father worked for the National Commission. You follow me? Not New York, the National Commission. That's the whole commission around the United States. My father did work for them. Period. My father had whatever he wanted, Shylock and horses, bookmaking, gamble, whatever. When they needed a piece of work done, my father was their top shooter. That's why I could say what I say about my father. Yes, that's why. Yeah, my father was one of the guys who killed Joe Gallo. My father was one of the guys involved with killing Albert Anastasia. Yeah, he was. My father was their top shooter. Now, when my father got sick and my father died, not one of the fucking bosses from New York or their underbosses came and paid their respects to my father. They didn't even send a fucking flower. Meanwhile, from New Orleans, Carlos Marcella fucking flew in. He stood 5 minutes. Anthony, I'm very sorry about your father, so on and so, and he left. He was the whole fucking boss of New Orleans. He ran all New Orleans, the whole fucking state. He was the boss. He came in, okay? From Missouri, Tony Savella came in. His father was Carl Savella, the head of the Savella family. Fucking Tony flew in from Missouri. Stood a couple of minutes, these guys. Paid their respects. Boom, they flew out.
Yeah.
Guys from all over the fucking country came in. None of the bosses and none of the underbosses from New York's from the New York 5 families paid their respects to my father. I had a lot of soldiers came from the families in New York. A lot of the enforcers came. Even some of the captains came. Not all of them, but some of them came. A couple of lieutenants came. They paid their respects. But none of the bosses did. And my father worked for every one of them bosses. When every one of the bosses in the 5 family had a special job they wanted done, they had to get it okay to a commission, and they all said, we want Top, because they used to call my father Top, because he was tops at what he done. They used to call him Top. They used to call him Frankie Ray. They used to call him Quiet Frank, because they knew when my father did a piece, you gave my father a piece of work to do, it was fucking done. When I seen that, I said, you know what? This is fucking ridiculous. I said, now I see where it's going. But I stood longer. Then I see it changing more and more. All the guys that went away and all these new kids coming in. Yeah, you got to do this. What the fuck you telling me? You ain't even fucking, you never did a piece of work in your life. You're going to fucking tell me what the fuck to do. Because you're going out with somebody's daughter or sister, they straightened you out. To me, that ain't a wise guy. And most of these guys that they straightened out right away, they all ratted on them.
Did you know the Iceman?
Wait, but now it gets a little bit. Wait. Then it gets better. Then I went up to the Bronx. I was staying with my Uncle Danny Salenti on Arthur Avenue. As Uncle Danny got older, the younger guys started trying to take businesses away from him. Finally, after he died in 2013, is when I made my move and I started getting out. Because I could see exactly the way it is. Then when I went to prison to see my friends when I was going to write the book, all the old timers, they all turned around and told me, go write your book. Just that if you put us in it, don't make us look like animals or make us look bad. I said, I would never do that to you. And they said, do your book, do what you got to do, and get the fuck out, because these young guys, you'll be sitting over here next to us doing a million years, because these young guys will rat you the fuck out. And they even said it's a mistake that we did putting these young guys back in.
True, man.
That's my reason.
Some of the people,
it's nothing like it was. Nothing like it was.
They don't like. They don't. It's not like it was. Definitely.
Listen, let me tell you something. There's a story I'm going to tell you. Carmine Galante was on the lam, all right, and they caught him at a guy's house. They caught him. They arrested him. Everybody turned around and said, Michael Bellino did it. Michael Bellino ratted on him. They went to Michael Bellino's house, told his wife and his 2 daughters, your father's a fucking rat. We're going to kill him. We're going to do this. We're going to come to court. You're going to see he's the one who fucking ratted him out. All right. Guess what? They went. Michael Bellino's wife went to court with the daughters. They were sitting there. They took the judge. After a while, they took a break and they said, we're going to come back with the informant who gave him up. It turns out that the informant was a guy named Freddie DeChristopher. He was a certain guy's brother-in-law, and he was a cousin to Carmine Galante through marriage. He gave him up for $50,000 fucking reward. And meanwhile, the girl that he was married to, Freddie DeChristopher, her brother, was a big wise guy. That the girl fainted. Michael Bellino's wife and daughters got up and walked out of the courtroom. In my day, you never went and threatened the guy's daughters or his wife. You never messed with the women. You never did. When I seen that, I said, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. And I said, that's another reason to get the fuck out.
Someone said, what's this guy's first? What was your first piece of work, and did you enjoy the experience?
First of all, if I ever did do a piece of work, I would have to be a moron to turn around and say it on live feed, because there's no statute of limitations on doing that. That's the one.
But when
I was 16 years old, I got into a problem. with a guy named. Let me finish, Bill.
Go ahead.
Got into a problem with a guy named Burns. Sally Burns was a cousin to Frankie Burns, to Jimmy Burns, and there was Sally Burns, Frankie Burns, and Jimmy Burns. There were three brothers and a cousin. Their last name really was Granello. And the guy that I had the beef with was Sally Burns, like a second cousin or something like that in the family with them. And I had gotten into beef with him. It's in my book, in book one, where he had given me a beating. This guy came out of prison. He was 29 years old, and he had given me a bad beating that he put me in the hospital. I was only 16 because I was running a spot that Joe Colombo gave me. P.S. Make a long story short, when I came out of the hospital, I told him I was going to settle it. When I went down to the Cadaver Club in Bay Ridge to settle it with him, to see one thing led to another, and I put 13 bullets in his head. That was the first man I ever killed. And that's how I won Vietnam, because what happened, we got Abraham Grinch, we got William Kunstler, and by the time they got done with the New York DA, they were going to send me away for a year and a half for possession of an illegal firearm and for discharging a firearm in the city limits. But the FBI picked it up, and they arrested me for violation of his civil rights, which is a law that says there's a civil rights law that if I cause your death or kill you, the thing is this: how I violated your rights was you can't grow old, you can't work, you can't be with your wife, you can't see your kids grow up, you can't support them, you can't see your grandchildren, on and on and on. Now, the only reason why I got the year and a half from the state and why the FBI, actually, why I got a year and a half from the state, because I was under 24 years old. There's a law with city, state, and federal called Youth Offenders Act. No matter what you do up until the age of 24, including murder, they can't give you no more than 7 years. Now, the DA wanted to make a name. It's okay, give me a year.
I know a lot of people that are under 16 years old or were 16, 17 years old and then they got life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then they have bad lawyers because there's a thing called the Youth Offenders Act. Now, the FBI grabbed me, and the FBI has the Youth Offenders Act. They could only give me 7 years. But with the violation of his civil rights, that carries 99 years. There's no Youth Offenders Act with that. Yeah. And that's what I got convicted of. And I got the 99 years. I was 16 years old. They sent me to Atlanta. Abraham Grinch came there about a day and a half later with William Kunstler. Like I said, the story's in my book. Asked me if I wanted to get out of there. And I had to join the Marines, and I had to go to the Southeast Asian Conference, they called it. I didn't know it was Vietnam. And if I successfully complete 2 years over there, my record's wiped out, expunged, everything's gone.
Hell yeah,
I signed the papers. I had no idea it was Vietnam. And that's how I wound up getting there.
I would have did it.
Well, I didn't know that it was Vietnam at the time. And that's how I wound up going to Vietnam. And I stood in Nam. Matter of fact, I did, after 2 years was up, I stood another 2 years and 2 years and 3 months I stood there. I did 4 years and 3 months altogether there. So I made more money in Nam than I made on the streets sending stuff home.
What were you sending home from Vietnam? What kind of
Vietnam,
things?
When we go into the villages, I was sending home weapons. I was sending home ammunition, weapons. We would find, like, in certain villages, they had, like, some of them, they had gold and stuff stashed. We would take it, split it up amongst ourselves. I'd send it home.
Yeah.
Send it all home. We found diamonds down there in some villages because the Viet Cong were giving it to them to get them to buy more and more guns and ammunition and suits so they could fight us. We go into a village, we would just wipe out the whole fucking village and take everything. We used to take the gold, like some of them had gold in their fucking teeth. We ripped their fucking teeth out. Took the fucking gold off and sent everything home. Yeah, we ripped the fucking teeth right out of their fucking head.
Did they
I had one guy.
Did they rob banks there and shit too? Did they have banks?
What?
Did they have banks there that you
No, not where we were. No, there was no banks in Nam that I robbed. No. There was no banks there. We robbed everything in the villages, and then when we came upon, let's say, like there was Like we came upon a stronghold and we wiped them all out. We would take all the guns and all the weapons. We'd pack it up and send it back to the United States to our families. We used to split it up amongst us.
You could send weapons
I
back
gave.
then.
Oh, forget about. I had. Forget. I had handguns. I had over 400 handguns. Handguns, rifles, M16s, AK-47s, 9mm assault rifles, shotguns. I had close to over 1,200 weapons at my. I came home from Nam. I
Do you
sold
know
every fucking one of them. I made a fortune.
You got any stories with Carmine Galante?
Huh?
Carmine Galante.
Oh, Carmine. Carmine Galante was my grandfather's kid cousin. When when they were going to make me, Alley Boy was going to straighten me out in after everything with Lufthansa happened. And what happened, the commission says you can't straighten him out because a cousin of theirs, who was a captain in the family, he made like about 12 guys in 1 year. So the commission said, there's like a moratorium. You can't make anybody for 2 years. You can't. They said because it looks like you're trying to take over. So with that, he went to see Carmine Galante. And Carmine, he told Carmine, and I knew Carmine because he's my grandfather's younger cousin. And Alley Boy told me, he says, listen, I want to get Anthony straightened out. He goes, you do me a favor, you straighten him out, and then you ship him over to us. Which that was a steady practice. In other words, if the family you were going in a family, you were going to get made. If they couldn't make you in that family, they brought you to another family, they made you, and then shipped you over to them. So Carmine Galante says, I got to go talk to his grandfather. So we went to see my grandfather, me, Carmine Galante, and Alley Boy. They spoke. I had to wait outside. They spoke to my grandfather. Then my grandfather called me in. He says, they want to make you a friend over here. They want you to be straightened out. I said, yes. He goes to me, do you want this? He goes, tell me now. I said, I want it more than anything. My grandfather says, I give you my blessing. He says, Carmine, you have my okay. I give you my blessing. Do what you want. My grandfather got up. He hugged me and kissed me. He said, congratulations. It was Good Friday, 1979. And who was it? It was what's his name owned the restaurant. Mike Sabella was alive at the time, and he owned the restaurant Casabella's down on Mulberry Street. I was brought down there. I was going down there for dinner. I was told I was going down there for dinner. I went down there for dinner. They says, "Come on, we're going to go upstairs and eat because there's a private room." I said, "All right, cool." When I walked upstairs, and they opened the door, and I walked in, I seen the table with all the guys sitting around it. I knew right away. This is no dinner. I said, I'm getting made. That's exactly what happened. They made me there that day. They had a party for me upstairs. Then they shipped me over to the Colombos. They shipped me to Alley Boy, and Alley Boy threw a party for me that day. That night, I didn't get home until, I think it was about 11 o'clock Saturday afternoon. I slept until about 11 o'clock that night also, I'll tell you that. But that was a Carmine Galante.
So what do you think about people getting made in prison? We talked about that, man. So
that's fucking bullshit.
Someone was saying about having facial hair. You can what do you got to say for the people that say you can't have facial hair?
All right, let me explain something to you, okay? That's right. I'm going to start off this way. Years ago, they said, if a guy eats pussy, he's a fucking homo or he's a rat. So I was sitting down at the table and I was looking, and I was clean shaven at the time. I said, well, what's your opinion, Anthony? I said, my opinion is this. Everybody can say what they want, but nobody knows what any one of us will do when we're in the room with our girlfriend, wife, or whoever by ourselves. I said, so that's bullshit. Said, oh, well, what about if you wear a mustache, you're a rat? Or if you wear a beard, you're a rat. I said, if you look at all the old-time Sicilians and the black hand and all of them, 90% of them had a mustache or something. Now, I said, you want to know? And I sat down with everybody and I was talking with them. And I said, all right, let me put it this way. You're saying only a guy who's got facial hairs is a rat. He says, yes, all right. I said, listen to me carefully. Joe Valachi, clean shaven, he was a rat. Big Pete Chiodo, clean shaven, he was a fucking rat. Sammy the Bull, clean shaven, he was a rat. You got Gas Pipe, Anthony Queso, clean shaven, he was a rat. You had, what's his name? Johnny Pate. He was a captain in the family, clean shaven. He was a rat. And on and on and on. All the guys who became rats who you've seen, every fucking one of them was clean shaven. They never wore facial hair. Every one of them never wore facial hair. Now, later on in the years, I saw guys who would have a mustache or a goatee or whatever. Once I got straightened and I started making, getting good with myself, I grew my beard. And I used to keep it the way I got it now, cut down low with the mustache. 1,000,001 times they used to tell me shave it. I said, okay, if I shave it off, I grow it back. I shaved it off, I grew it back again. But the thing is this. I got the leeway for two reasons. One, they liked me. And two, when I was told to do something, because I was made an enforcer, when they wanted something done, specifically done, they called me. I went, I did it, and I came home.
Yeah.
End of story. So I had facial hair. Believe me when I tell you. That's just an old myth and an old bullshit, because if you look at all the rats, look at Joseph Cantalupo. He was a rat. He was fucking clean shaven. There's another one who was clean shaven. Look at all the gangsters or wise guys, whatever you want to call them, that became rats.
Yeah.
Shaved.
I don't think it matters.
None of them ever wore facial hair.
Facial hair or not.
That was just a bullshit thing that somebody started years ago when my grandfathers were around. My grandfather wore a mustache. He had a little tiny mustache, what they used to call it. He didn't fuck with my grandfather. My grandfather was with the Black Hand. He was a fucking boss of the Black Hand. He was no fucking joke. My other grandfather was a boss of the Black Hand also.
Did you
That's
know
a lot of nonsense.
Spiro Valencia? Spiro Valencia?
Yeah. Yeah, Spiro. Which one? Spiro from Bath Avenue?
I don't know. They said, did you know Spiro Valencia?
Yeah, there was Spiro from Bath Avenue. I knew Spiro Avenue.
Yeah.
And then there was Ralphie Spiro also.
So what were these guys like?
Which guys you talking about?
Like, how were the bosses like? Were they
Wake up, Bill?
Huh? I said, what were the bosses like? Were they like personable?
The boss strict, but they were strict.
Yeah.
They were all strict, but they were fair. They were all good. They were all good. Every one of them. Every one of them was good. They were strict. They had rules you had to go by, and that's all there was to it.
What did you think of Paul Castellano?
Paulie, I knew Paulie. I liked him, but he was a greedy fuck. He wanted everything.
Yeah.
He didn't give a shit if you had $50 in your pocket and that's all you had for the rest of the week. He wanted at least half. That's what took him down. If Paulie wasn't greedy, he would have stood there until he died of old age.
You don't think that
Paulie was a greedy person.
You don't. What did you think of John Gotti?
John, I liked him. I knew him. I mean, I ain't gonna say that I was very close with him. No, I wasn't. I knew him, and anytime I happened to be in his company or whatever, I liked him. The guy was what you call a real gangster. He wasn't bullshit. He was the real fucking deal. And he lived always by the old rules. All the time, the old rules he lived by.
Yeah, but he was.
He didn't go by all this new bullshit or anything like that.
He was into drugs, though, wasn't he?
No, John wasn't into drugs. He wasn't into drugs. People around him were into drugs, but him directly was not into drugs. No boss was ever directly involved in drugs. People around him were, but not the bosses themselves. Never. But the drugs is a prevailing thing. I mean, it comes out all over. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, it's a lot of money, man. It's a lot of money in that shit.
What are you gonna do with it? With the drugs? John was the type. Listen to me. John was the type of guy. He was strict. He wanted something that had to be done in that way. But he lived by but he was fair. A lot of people didn't like him. Can understand why. Maybe because of what happened with Paulie Barrett or Paulie Castellano or whatever. But you know what? That's business. Oh, it's business. That's all. You take care of your business, you do it, and get over and done with.
Yo, what do you think about Rochester and Buffalo?
He lived by the code and he died by the code.
Do you go to a lot of different do you go to a lot of different cities and towns?
Nah, I don't travel like that no more. No.
Do
No,
you
why? What were you saying
did you
about
know
Buffalo?
did you know John Alite?
No. No. I did not
No?
listen to me. Every wise guy or gangster does not know every wise guy or gangster. Like I traveled around where I knew Nicky Scarfo. I traveled through Connecticut where Billy Grasso and them were up in Connecticut. I traveled all around those areas. Jersey with the old man Rayo, Pennsylvania, down in Philly, Las Vegas, California, Missouri, Springfield, Missouri, Los Angeles. I was down in New Orleans with Carlos Marcello, all around the areas like that.
So do you get like a warm welcome?
These are people that I knew that I did business with. Not everybody thinks that. What?
Yeah. Everybody doesn't know everybody, right?
I can't hear you, Bill.
I said everybody doesn't know everybody.
No. And just because you live in New York, yeah, but listen to me. And just because you live in New York, they think that every gangster knows every gangster. No, they don't. No, they don't. Because you only associate with people you want to associate with. You know what I'm saying?
Someone says,
But I
do
mean,
you
I
know
had
Joe?
friends in a lot of places.
Did you know Joe Sullivan?
No. No.
Yeah, I want to give a
No.
shout out to Chad Marks and all these other guys, man. Everyone else doing podcasts. He got a dope ass show. I want to give a shout out to AZ Ruction. You want to give a shout out to anyone before you go, Anthony?
Because nobody knows around now. All my people are gone. Let's put it that way.
Someone said, were you part of any of the Colombo Wars? Someone said, were you part of any of the
in the
Colombo
last
Wars?
one? In the last one. The last Colombo War started in the 80s. I was the first guy to get shot. And I have that in book 2. That's how I knew the war was on. Because what happened, I came home from prison around 1988. And I was with Uncle Buster, Gunga Din, we called him. My cousin Mac named him Gunga Din. Buster Striano was his name. He was with us. And Buster told me that there was a problem in the family starting to brew. There was a problem starting to brew up in the family. And he says, Anthony, you got to pick a side. I said, well, I'm on the same side as you. I'm on Junior's side. I'm not going anywhere else. After about a month, maybe month and a half, standing on 4th Avenue, and I'm talking with Uncle Buster. Car pulls up. 2 guys I know in it. And 2 guys, hey, Ed, how you been? Good. Oh, you're home, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, talking. They said, you see what the fuck's going on? You see what's happening? I said, yeah. They said, what do you think of it? I said, well, I tell you the truth. I says, I didn't want to tell them where I was because I didn't know what these guys were up to. I said, tell you the truth, you got to see what the hell's going on, what caused this problem. Well, they said, well, whose side are you on? I said, I didn't make up my mind on whose side I am. When I said that, the guy pulled out a gun, he fired, he hit me right in my right side. And the car took off. Uncle Buster took me up to the hospital, threw me in his car, took me to Methodist Hospital. And Methodist Hospital is where they patched me up. All right. Came out of the hospital after a week. And Uncle Buster, me and him were talking, and they said I was the first casualty that the war was. I was the first one who got popped. P.S. Make a long story short, and I got this in book 2. They got the lineup on where these 2 guys were, where these 2 guys were staying. Each guy was in a different state. Well, make a long story short, Each one of the two guys met their end. Let's put it that way. But the Colombo War, at the height of the war, let me tell you something. I was still on the street. My cousin Mac, a couple of other guys, and a lot of them, they fucking ran upstate. I ran into guys telling me, like this guy, Big Jerry. What his father is, I forgot who his father was. We were talking a long time ago. I go, look, I was there in the war and I didn't see you. I said, Jerry, don't bullshit me. On the fucking street, I didn't see you. Turns out a lot of guys were hanging out up in the Bronx because Uncle Danny Salenti called me up and he says, come up here and get Benny. I said, what are you talking about? He goes, because Benny was a captain in our family, little Benny. He says, get him and bring him down where you guys are. I said, what the fuck are you talking about? So I go up to the Bronx. Now the guy's a captain. I'm an enforcer. I said, Benny, what are you doing up here? He was hanging out on a aisle that the fucking war was going on. Because Arthur Avenue was off, that was, you couldn't do nothing on Arthur Avenue, because that was a neutral area. So he was hanging out up over there. I said, the fuck you doing up here? You're supposed to be down in Brooklyn with us. You're hanging out up here on Arthur Avenue. You're a captain in the family. You're supposed to be calling shots. You got to be fucking kidding me. A lot of guys ran upstate. They were hiding. And then when the war was over, they all come out. Yeah, we won. We did this. I turned around. I said, you guys did fucking shit. You all were fucking hiding. I said, I was on the street. Mac was on the street. I said, and a lot of other guys were on the street. Where the fuck were you guys? You were fucking hiding upstate. Who was in the Bronx? Who went out of state? Don't give me that fucking bullshit.
Dudes really do
That's
hide.
what I look at. I said, man, I can't believe these fucking people.
Shit,
what?
when I was involved with the gang shit, we were involved with some heavy shit, man. We were shooting at each other and people were hiding in the fucking house. I wasn't. I was outside.
Yeah. That's what I said. A lot of these guys were hiding. They don't even know how the peace was made either.
Someone said, did you know anything about Roy DeMeo?
Oh, the maniac, Roy. Oof.
Yeah.
Roy, let me tell you, Roy was a real, how can I put it? Roy was fucking dangerous.
Yeah.
Roy was fucking dangerous, that's for sure. That much I can tell you, he was dangerous. I know he did a lot of work, Roy. I think Roy loved killing people and chopping them up more than he liked getting laid. I'm telling you serious. But my understanding was that it came to the point that they couldn't trust him no more because he was so nuts. He was having guys clipped that he knew for 20 and 30 years that were close with him, and he was taking them out.
Yeah, and they were going to
call him together, but they got the okay.
They were going to call him in to testify too. He got called in to testify for something, didn't he?
Roy would have never testified. He would have never. They may have called him in. They may have got him on the witness stand, but he would never testified.
Yeah,
never. He would have never testified. No way. But I was told that he was taking out guys, like I said, that he knew all these years, and everybody figured, before he takes us, we get him, but they had to get the okay to take him out, and the boss gave the okay, and Roy met his end by his own people.
But I want to thank you for coming on. I want to thank you for coming on, man. And
Bill, ain't a word you said.
I said I want to thank you for coming on, Anthony. I want to thank you for coming on, man.
Yes.
Thanks. And you guys make sure you hit
the live audience to talk with real questions.
Yeah, there is a live audience, but I'm gonna get the hell out of here, man. We're just shooting the shit. Make sure you guys hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell so you can get my videos every time they drop. And me and Anthony will be back another time. And I want to give a shout out to Chad Marks and all the other guys doing their thing, man. Bugsy, free Bugsy, and stay up. All right, man. Say peace to the people.
I said hello.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
All right, man.